All right, then, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Victorious Ones podcast, a place where gaming meets comics, meets sports, as well as movies and inspiration. Of course, my name is King Von Jr. Jr. You can follow me on social media on Twitter at 301 King Von Jr. at the bottom of the screen. And of course, you can follow the show's Twitter page at Victory Pod 1. Of course, you can also follow on Instagram at Mr. King Von Jr. You can follow on, of course, on the show's Instagram page at Victorious Ones podcast. As you all know, by now, I'm also the social media producer for the unpopular review wrestling show, Perfect Plex Talk Radio. And so, so of course, as I always like to say, in the intro, but of course, I know that this past week, there's a lot of material, for me to cover, for me to go over right now. Like when the thing is, death not only comes in threes, but in this rate, it pretty much feels like it comes in fours right now. So of course, as we said last week, RIP to Terry Funk. Of course, hardcore legend, Texas legend, an innovator, a pioneer in so many different ways. Like Terry Funk changed the landscape of wrestling as we know it, especially when it comes to Texas. People talk about the Von Erichs as being, the huge Texas dynasty, but the Funks were like right there along with them. And just in regards to like that, what they meant, their imprint, on wrestling itself, and just how remarkable this guy was, how he lived a full life, even with the type of lifestyle that he had, with the way that he wrestled. That just speaks volumes. And and his mic work. Stone Cold Steve Austin owes a forever debt of gratitude to this guy in terms of the way that he delivered his promos, in terms of his approach when it comes to wrestling. Terry Funk went through so many different transformations. It's crazy, And so of course, like I said, even with Chainsaw Charlie, that was one of my first looks of him. With him and Cactus Jack and whatnot. And so, So it's just like, but it's just so much to deal with. And like I said, RIP. Of course, my thoughts and prayers. Of course, go out to his family and everything. Like I said, hardcore legend. Of course, rest in power to Terry Funk. And so, of course, RIP to Bray Wyatt. I'm going to do more on him later on in this episode as well. And it's of course also for those that are on YouTube. Of course, YouTube.com. /@ Von Resper Jr. It's my YouTube channel. Please make sure to like and subscribe for more content as well. And of course for those that are just doing some quick plugins as well. For those that are interested in my exclusive, and of course my special Roman Reigns shirt, Roman's Empire shirt. It is on victoriousones.bigcartel.com. But yeah, like I said, I just wanted to get that cheap plug out the way first. But like I said, of course, RIP to Terry Funk, RIP to Bray Wyatt. Like I said, I'm going to go more into some of my favorite Bray Wyatt matches and moments. Later on in this episode. And of course, I also want to say RIP to Bob Barker from The Price is Right. Made to 99. He could not even on his way to death. He could not go up to 100 or over 100. But he lived a long and incredible, super duper fulfilling life and everything like that, and just what he meant as an entertainment icon. He's a WWE Hall of Famer as well, I believe. But yeah, like I said, of course, RIP to Bob Barker. He's been on Monday Night Raw, as well himself. So of course, RIP. Like I said, so many different generations grew up on, and the fact he made it all the way to this age is phenomenal. So of course, like I said, RIP to him. And also I want to say, and of course, the same day that Bob Barker passed away, rest in peace, of course, to Arleen Sorkin, who was the original voice of Harley Quinn on Batman the Animated Series. And of course, that one was, like I said, really hit like a ton of bricks, when I found that out. Because of the fact that, of course, like I said, for everyone who loves Harley Quinn, she's super duper popular and everything like that. But Arleen Sorkin was not only the voice of Harley Quinn, but she was the literal inspiration for Harley Quinn. And of course, like I said, of course, this early on the show, might as well. Like I said, there's a lot of material, for me to cover from this past week, and everything like that. But of course, some doing RP tributes, shout outs and whatnot. So, like I said, fun little fact about Arleen Sorkin. So, one of the creators or animators for Batman the animated series, Paul Dini. The funny thing is, here's a little background story. One day, he, like I said, those one day, he was just feeling sick, and he was like, what, I'm just going to watch, pop in a tape of Days of Our Lives. So this particular Days of Our Lives episode happened to be an episode where there was like some dream sequence, and they were dressed up as as kings and queens, so on. And so of course, there's one lady that was dressed up like a clown, court jester, right? And so that character that was dressed up as a clown was Arleen Sorkin, because she used to be on the show. And so of course, Paul. Excuse me, so I'm sorry about that. But of course, so Paul Dini was watching the episode, and he was so impressed. He was like, hold on. Sorry about that. Anyway, so sorry about that. But like I said, the thing about it was that Paul Dini was so impressed with Arleen Sorkin's performance. He was so impressed with that character that he was like, you know what, as I'm creating this Batman cartoon, I'm going to go ahead and create a character that's based off of this lady dressed up like a clown. And so it's like I see, he was so impressed with that episode, of Arleen dressed, as a clown lady. He was like, I'm going to create a character, create an exclusive character for the show. That's inspired by this episode. And so that was when Harley Quinn was created. And of course, Harley Quinn made a debut on Batman the Animated Series in 1992. So Harley Quinn was inspired by a character that Arleen Sorkin played in Days of Our Lives, like literally inspired by a character that Arleen played on that show. And so of course, Paul Dini went a step further and reached out to Arleen Sorkin herself to be the voice of said character. So Arleen's portrayal in Days of Our Lives was not only the inspiration for Harley Quinn, but Paul Dini went a step further and chose her to be the voice of Harley Quinn. So Arleen, like I said, not only voice Harley, but she was the direct inspiration in so many different ways. So it was basically her pretty much playing herself and like I said, loosely sort of playing the voice of herself, just about. You know what I mean? Like I said, the fact that Harley Quinn was inspired by a character from Days of Our Lives, and the very lady that was from the show ends up playing the voice of Harley Quinn. After being the one that gave Paul Dini, after Paul Dini got the idea for it. So yeah, like I said, Arleen Sorkin, once again, I've said over and over, like I said, she was the voice of Harley Quinn and the inspiration from Days of Our Lives. And so of course, Harley Quinn, went on to reach incredible heights of popularity. You know what I mean? And so like I say, she transcends comics, cartoons, so many different ways. And it all started with Arleen Sorkin. And we've had different, different actresses play her both in cartoon and live action. Actually, whether it was Tara Strong, who picked up the mantle to play the voice of Harley Quinn later on, as well as Margot Robbie, the live action versions like Suicide Squad and Birds of Prey. Like I said, they did great portrayals, but nobody, and I mean absolutely nobody, will ever top Arleen Sorkin when it comes to, like I said, when it comes to the way that she embodied that role. Like I said, not only her influence, for that character, and like I said, it just like the mannerisms of Harley Quinn, like when it comes to like her voice mannerisms and things like that. And fun fact, Arleen was actually born in Washington D.C., but she had one of the deepest New York accents I have ever heard. And especially when it came to when it came to the way that she played Harley Quinn. I mean, like I said, Harley, like I said, that character, like I said, all of a sudden took on a whole nother life, whole nother life of her own. You know what I mean? So she was custom made for the Joker, and the fact that we lost both Kevin Conroy and Arleen Sorkin, like back to back years, it's very devastating. Excuse me, it's very painful. It's very devastating. For fans like myself who grew up on that show, right? You know what I mean? So of course, like I said, rest in peace, Arleen Sorkin, and of course, my thoughts and prayers out, go out to her family. At the, like I said, at this time. So, that's when it comes. Of course, those are my recipes, shout outs, and of course, I also want of course, I want to say that over the weekend I saw back-to-back movies. You know what I mean? Of course, Saturday I saw Blue Beetle. Finally for the first time, and then and of course on Sunday, because it was National Cinema Day. Hey, how you gonna turn down $4 tickets, right? So I went to go see Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Mutant Mayhem, and I would say that I was very impressed with both movies, and I like seeing that. I like how and I'm personally get back into the rest of it. This is sort of like entertainment side of it as well, because cover entertainment and sports and whatnot. For those that don't know. So like I say, when it came to Blue Beetle, like I say, when I found out that this movie was certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, and it had a great audience score, I was like, say no more. That's, like I said, the reviews speak for themselves, and I like this adaptation and how it's more focused on on a Latino superhero, and just how just shows another uh, level of diversity. You know what I mean? And so, like I said, I enjoyed that family representation. Just like I said, to see that family oriented representation, of that community, and like I said, and for them to to be portrayed in the best light. You know what I mean? Like I said, I like the diversity of things, instead of like years before it would have been seen as a stereotype and whatnot. But like I said, I like how, like I said, I like the way that the Blue Beetle, like I said, like I said, I like the way he was able to carry this movie, and the thing about it is that, like, I'm familiar with Blue Beetle by way of of Young Justice as well as Injustice 2. And of course I'm familiar with with the story of Jaime Reyes, and even though there was another Blue Beetle before that, but like I said, but the thing is, the focal point was Jaime, and I think that that he's the most recognizable Blue Beetle out of them all. And to see his origin from when he first received the Scarab, and for those that don't know, like I said, for those that don't know, that are not familiar with the story, uh, the Scarab is DC's version of Nanotech. So Blue Beetle is basically a teenage, uh, like I said, he's pretty much like a teenage Latino version of Iron Man. Like I say, pretty much, like I guess Iron Man meets Spider Man type of thing. And so, like I said, and of course, in that regard, like he's like I say, he's a combination. Like I said, he's a Latino combination of both of them. Because when I say Spider Man, because of the fact that I'm a teenager, and also, like I say, also when I say because of Iron Man, like I said, because of that technology, and that Scarab technology is enough to is pretty much enough to give even nanotech like I said, enough to give even now and take a run for its money. You know what I mean? And so and like I said, just the way that that the family was able to bond together. Like I said, was the heart of the movie. You know what I mean? And so and just for Blue Beetle to for Hyman to get more acquainted with his new powers and his new ability and everything like that, and just that growing pain, just that growing phase of just teenage life period, right? And so overall, like I said, I was thoroughly impressed with the movie. Like I said, like I said, like just great action. Um, like saying like I said, when it comes to action, like I said, when it comes to storytelling, like I say it like that movie, like I said, was very well executed, but at the same time, I guess that speaks of all. I guess that's um, it says a lot. Considering how low the bar has been for DC live action movies, and so be like so hopefully that this will be a breath of fresh air compared to what we've seen previous recently when it comes to DC. So like I said, like I said, hopefully this will be a catalyst for like I said for course correction when it comes to DC. And when it comes to like I said, when it comes to Mutant Mayhem, um, so like I said, when it comes to Mutant Mayhem, I will say that I absolutely enjoyed that movie. It was even better than I expected. So I like the way that the way they modernize things and so on. Like I said, just the writing in of itself is incredible with the way that they have adapted more and more to the social media generation. And also like I said, I like the outside references, that they've had in regards to like other movies like Endgame and like I said Mark Ruffalo reference and things like that, and just the writing. So, like I said, pretty much like the writing of this movie is on a whole nother level. You know what I mean? And so like and not only that, but also like I said, also when it comes to the casting of the movie. You know what I mean? So of course of course you had like I said like I said when it comes to new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem, you had the likes of Giancarlo Esposito. You had like I said Carlos Esposito. You had John Cena. You had Paul Rudd. Well, who else? Of course, Jackie Chan, obviously, was the voice of Master Splinter, which was a huge surprise, when I found that out. John Cena, of course, in this movie, is the voice of Rocksteady. So of course, let me see who else. And of course, the fact that Ice Cube was in this movie was a huge surprise to me. And of course, he played the villain in this movie known as Superfly. And I think I like the way that they took so many different songs. Of course they also had Maya Rudolph in this movie, Hannah Buress. I was surprised that Post Malone also did Post Malone also did the voice in this movie. So so like I said, when it comes to the cast was A1. You know what I mean? It was just on a whole other level. The writing was on another level. And of course, like I said, I like the different Easter eggs and references. How Ice Cube's character even made an Ice T reference. You know what I mean? Of course, the 6 in the morning song. He also made a reference to the Missy Elliott and things like that. So it's just like it almost reminds me of not quite on that level, but but with the way that it's just like things out of the box. So it almost reminds me of some of the writing when it comes to Invincible. You know what I mean? And so of course, like I said, it's just like I said, certain references. If somebody's not careful, may go over their head. But for those that understand it, as Steve Rogers would say, I understood that reference. And of course, like I said, I like how they modernize things. I like how they modernize April. You know what I mean? And just the connection that she built with them. You know what I mean? And everything like that. And so of course also spoke to some of the false narratives that that the media creates that's created in the news and stuff like that. And so just embracing differences and whatnot. Of course, we all know, pretty much the same. I don't want to sound like cliche and whatnot, but we're pretty much that whole concept, right? And so, like I said, as far as this past weekend, like I said, I was thoroughly impressed with both movies. And as far as that, um, so of course, like I said, that's pretty much as far as entertainment is concerned. But also, another thing I want to talk about as well. I'm going to cover cover also was this latest episode of Winning Time, and how, like I said, how we're getting closer to like going deeper to the 1981-82 season, and we see the unraveling of Paul Westhead and how how he started to lose control of the team, and just how how Magic is unhappy, and it's just venting his frustrations to the point where at the very end of at the end of the episode, of course he drops the biggest bombshell, the ultimate soundbite, as we all know, when he made that famous quote saying, "I want to be traded," and so of course that is, like I said, that was a fire starter right there, or at least pour more gasoline on the fire, to make the fire grow even more. And so, like I said, we start to see Westhead's relationship with the team deteriorate, especially when it comes to um, their flagship star. And so of course, you see more and more of how uh, Pat Riley and Magic are starting to bond and starting to, start to like see more of a common ground, and they know that it's only a matter of time before the team, is ultimately led by them, pretty much. So, so that is, like I said, that's pretty much what I've seen um, in a nutshell like I said, when it comes to this, like I said, when it comes to this episode of Winter Time. And so also so one more thing, as far as this episode of Ahsoka, I like how um, Ahsoka is, like I said, Ahsoka is, being more of a mentor, and training someone else to become sort of like a new age, new version um, of Jedi's, and how she's reminded that she was not a traditional Jedi herself, and so of course, like her thing is like, just like when it comes to being a mentor, like I said, just presenting a cultural shift. So that's why I got out of this episode, as far as like something just wanting to create um, a new pretty much a new culture when it comes to, like I said, when it comes to Jedi's, when it comes to, when it comes to knowing how to, how to use the Force and things like that. And so what I mean, so as far as that, and like I said, I like the momentum that the show is having, as well as Winter Time. And so of course, like I said, I think that the writing for these shows is excellent, and I look forward to seeing, like I said, look forward to seeing more of what they have in store. And so, like I said, of course, so, like I said, it's pretty much pretty much my thoughts when it comes to entertainment and, news and everything like that. And so of course, um, as we get, and of course, as we progress with this episode, I definitely want to talk more about Bray Wyatt. And of course, his death, his untimely passing, excuse me, has created shockwaves all across the world of wrestling. And it's just like I said, it's one of those things where it's still hard to believe. You know, so many people in the wrestling world have, are just, are just stuck. It's just like like I said, as I've said before, it feels like time has stood still with the passing of Bray Wyatt. Only at the age of 36, and I think that's why um, his passing hit so hard because of not only what he had already accomplished, you know, um, so early at this point, but where he was headed down the line, because there's so much more that was left on the table. The fact that um, Bray was seen as Undertaker's successor, and in so many different ways, he did become Taker's successor. Of course, obviously minus the longevity and minus the streak, right? So it's just it's just like it's so many so many different opportunities that were missed. Like I said, just so much stuff, so much that was left on the table. Like I said, when it came to what he could do as a character, and the thing about him that so many people have said about Wyndham, aka Bray, is that he was highly creative. You know what I mean? Like like I said, it's just he has so many different, like I said, so many different ideas, and it's like oftentimes it was just I guess for someone who has a type of creativity, one of the things that you may have a tendency to struggle with is how to uh, sort of direct all those ideas, um, you know, and how do I say this? One of the dilemmas that you may have is how to organize those ideas and just uh, move them in the right direction. Or so how do I say this? It's just a matter of how you can sort of like channel that creative energy and like I say and just uh, focus those ideas in the right direction. You know, it's like I said, channel channel that creativity, and just find ways to execute those ideas without them just being like thrown all over the place and stuff. Um, and like I said, and the thing about thing about this character, thing about Bray is that like I said, since he's passed, I've seen how highly respected this guy was. I mean, all across the board, whether it's not just in the immediate um, locker, and like I said, not just from the immediate locker room, but even former wrestlers themselves. You know what I mean? Like even like or rather, the legends themselves, from uh, the Undertaker, obviously, Triple H, Stone Cold Steve Austin, John Cena. You know what I mean? Randy Orton. Well, like I said, not so much Orton, not so much former, but like just in regards to like when you talk about the legends, I said, when I talk about legends of the sport, like I said, Undertaker, Austin, Cena, Triple H, Orton, you know, you name it. Though, like I said, when it comes to those guys, um, The Rock, of course, like I said, like the thing is, when you have that type of respect and admiration um, from guys that are in that category, that's a testament to your greatness. Not just them, but ultimately even Vince himself. You know, um, when you have the respect of your peers, especially those of that particular status, that lets everybody know that you were absolutely the real deal. Bray was absolutely the real deal. Bray, um, like I said, with the way they with his work rate, um, and how he was able to adjust that for his character, and um, just his pace of matches, the way this guy was able to move, the way that he told the story when it came, like I said, when it came to not just the wrestling standpoint, but especially when it came to the sports entertainment and psychology standpoint, because we all know that in the world of WWE, less is more, and it's all about presentation. And uh, Bray was definitely a student of presentation in so many different ways. And I think, and also another thing about it is that um, one of the main controversies, one of the main talking points, and whether you want to say it's an unpopular opinion or not, and what it's that um, the streak could have been passed to Bray instead of Brock. You know, um, and it's fascinating how at WrestleMania 30, you know, um, the same night that Undertaker loses to Lesnar, the same night that the streak ends, is the same night that Bray Wyatt takes his first loss against John Cena. And it's amazing how those two things, um, it's amazing how those two parallels play out on the same night. You know, so if anything, especially on the 30th anniversary of WrestleMania, um, you know, revisionist history, one would think that since Bray was being anointed as Undertaker Jr., as the torchbearer when it comes to that type of character, those theatrics and things like that. When it comes to this, it's Halloween, horrifying, scariest type of wrestling. If you're going to pass the torch, if anything, the only person that'll be able to hold that mantle would have been Bray Wyatt. And so, what better way to pass the torch, than at WrestleMania itself? The showcase of the Immortals, right? And so, so of course, Bray takes that first L against Cena, and then the next year, Bray and the next year, WrestleMania 31, Bray and Taker finally meet up. Even though heading into that WrestleMania match, Bray was the one that carried the build-up. He, of course, because of the fact that Undertaker was part-time and things like that. So of course, by that point, his schedule was greatly reduced. So Bray had to carry the build-up and the promos all by himself. But then by the time we get to the match, Taker gets the W. And so if we would have fantasy booked, I'll say like this: if it was up to me, and if Undertaker, if it was time for Undertaker to the streak to finally end. Personally, I wish he would have retired 20-0, but let's say we're given this hand, if you will, right? And you have to decide who Undertaker, who Undertaker's going to pass the streak to, who's going to break the streak. On the 30th anniversary of WrestleMania, no one better, I guess we're in some ways no one better than than the guy that's being groomed, to take his place, and that'll be Bray Wyatt. I don't want to sound like I'm talking about both sides of my mouth, but at the same time, let's say if for me, other than Brock, I think it would have been even more poetic by having Bray break the streak on the 30th anniversary of WrestleMania. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, I have nothing against Brock. I'm a huge Brock Lesnar fan, but if you want to talk about just that symbolic torch passing, from one generation's monstrous figure to the next, you would think that Bray would be the one to take the W at WrestleMania 30, and then the following year you have Undertaker versus Sting, and go, and of course move on with everything else, right? So of course none of those things happen. But that's why, that's why it's considered fantasy booking. But of course that's neither here nor there. And just like I said, just a presentation when it came to the Wyatt family. Of course, I firmly believe that I'll say like this. For me, another idea. Let's say you don't get Taker versus Bray at WrestleMania 30, right? at least I wish we could have seen um, the Wyatt family versus Shield at WrestleMania. You know, right before the Shield faces Evolution and breaks up and goes separate ways and everything like that. You know, and I mean, even though they did have that match at the Elimination Chamber, I feel as though with the rivalry of that with that potential, with that potential magnitude and everything like that, I feel as though a WrestleMania match would have done them better justice instead of the Shield just like I said, just dominating New Age Outlaws and Kane. Like if anything they could have been used better by like I said by having the Shield versus the Wyatt family because um, I feel as though that would have been the closest thing that this generation would have seen to the Von Erichs versus the Freebirds. Whereas the Wyatts with the Freebirds, the Von Erichs, like I said, the Wyatts would be the Freebirds, and the Shield would be the Von Erichs. That's West. So if anything, I feel as though the Wyatts' greatest dance partners were the Shield. But of course, as we all know, uh, we didn't get a chance to see that, like I said, at in the WrestleMania um, platform, and whatnot. But like I said, for me, some like I said, for me, some of my favorite Bray Wyatt matches, excuse me, include that include that elimination chamber match with Wyatts versus Shield. I'll also say his matches with John Cena, especially that cinematic match at WrestleMania 36. I thought that was perfect. That was right up Bray's alley. Like I said, when it comes to theatrics, when it comes to cinema, I mean, also up Cena's alley as well, since he's in Hollywood. Why not? And so I felt as though that match was kind of like a was like a career overview for John Cena. It's like a John Cena, this is your life type of thing going on. You know what I mean? So as far as that, um, like I said, when it comes to that, it was just like I said, it was just pretty much John Cena's career flashing before his eyes, and also also for me, I felt like it was the John Cena's what if episode if he were if he were to turn heel, and I like how the match they hinted at, the idea of John Cena turning heel with the NWO shirt and everything like that. It's just a heel turn that we never got to see, and I like how that match, like how that match presented that, like I said, how that match presented that, and so you know what I mean. So as far as that, like I said, I enjoyed the WrestleMania 36 cinematic match. Um, I enjoyed, like I said, I enjoyed his feud with Randy Orton. Not so much of the WrestleMania 33 match, but I enjoyed the build up, like I said, the build up leading up to that, especially with the iconic picture of Randy Orton burned down the house and standing outside doing his pose. You know what I mean? And so it's just like, I mean, that is a shot, and like I said, that's a shot that's going to be remembered, I said, for years and years and decades to come when it comes to wrestling. And you know what I mean? Of course, I just feel as though when it comes to Bray Wyatt's greatest dance partner, I think his greatest rivalry to me would be with Randy Orton. From that time all the way, like I said, all the way up to the Thunderdome era, when like the Thunderdome era when Bray was the Fiend, and like saying just that back and forth, just the mind games, and like saying, and just like I said, the back and forth, like I said, especially with Orton setting the Fiend on fire, RKO and Alexa Bliss and things like that. It made for great storytelling, made for great television. During like seeing like that, at the height of the Thunderdome era, and the way that their feud culminated at WrestleMania 37, right? You know what I mean? So it's like I said, some of Bray's greatest moments and matches and just rivalry came, like I said, rivalry, of course, came against someone like Randy Orton, you know what I mean? And someone, so, like I said, pretty much someone who's built for that type of environment, those type of matches and things like that. So who better be more suitable for someone like Bray, other than Randall himself. You know what I mean? And also, um, another thing about Bray is that it's very, like I said, I guess it's very fitting, if you will. The fact that Bray was, like, so, Bray was the launching pad for Roman Reigns' historic championship run that we see right now. For the past 3 years, Bray Wyatt, or the Fiend, was the foundation that Roman's title run was built off of. The thing is, like, so even though at times I've said Jey Uso, but really the launching pad, ground zero, was when Roman attacked Bray, um, and turn heel, and eventually, eventually took the title away from him and kicked off his run as head of the table, the tribal chief, and everything else that we see now. So Bray's very crucial. He's very instrumental in that aspect. That he was such now a monumental part of WWE history. How Roman's legendary run started at the hand, started at the expense of Bray Wyatt, at the expense of the Fiend. And I like Bray's reinvention as the Fiend as well. You know what I mean? And like I said, I like I enjoy the Mr. Rogers Sesame Street sort of concept when it came to the Firefly Funhouse, and how he was able to go switch back and forth. Switch back and forth from being Bray to become the Fiend. You know, and just how he was able to flip that switch in those segments, even before he even without even having to put the mask on. When he was just regular Mr. Rogers Bray Wyatt. There, I said, there are parts in those segments, like I said, what he did not hide at all. Like when it came to that Fiend character, and just how he was able to, like I said, flip the switch on and off. Like even their Firefly Funhouse, how he was able to turn the switch on and off from being Fiend back to back to the more humorous, joking Bray Wyatt and things like that, and just how he can be serious and dangerous at the same time. I'm not serious, but not serious, but how he could be funny and dangerous at the same time. So it was certainly Jekyll and Hyde type of thing. So you could definitely tell that Wyndham was definitely a student of not only The Undertaker, he was also a student of Mick Foley. He was a student of Terry Funk. He was just a student of the game all across the board. And it certainly played out in his character. It played out in his promos. It played out in his segments. It played out in his matches. It played out in his mannerisms in so many different ways. You know what I mean? It's just remarkable. And just how he's been one of the most charismatic figures that we've seen in WWE in a long time. Not just in today's time, but just of all time. And that's why his death just, it just, like I said, it just hit super hard. It hit so hard it felt like I got sacked by Aaron Donald. You know what I mean? Or Reggie White. Right? Like I said, that's how hard this news hit, because he was already on the active roster. Even though he had, like I said, he was still considered part of the active roster in WWE, even though he was taking time off and things like that. And not only that, but also the fact that he also, of course, it was found out that he was also suffering from heart problems with the effects of long COVID and things like that, and how even had like some pockets of like mini sleep apnea machine, um, you know, to like some mini sleep apnea machine or something like that. And so what happened was he went to sleep with it on. At least what happened was apparently he had gone to sleep but never woke up. You know, um, and I think it's because of the fact that the machine was hadn't even been turned on yet. And so and just to find out, that they passed away at such an early age. Like Bray passed away and is 2 years younger than what Eddie Guerrero was um, when he died back in 2005. And the thing is, and the thing about it is that those deaths both hit the same pretty much equally for me. And the thing is, that says a lot. Especially considering as a fan how many, how many deaths I've seen, and and just how the body count just continues to rise at a scary and alarming rate. And it's a shame that he's become the latest casualty. You know, and it's just like it's such a huge void. And shout out to Mike Knox and DJ for their Perfect Plex episode on Monday, where they paid homage and tribute, to Bray Wyatt and just the genius that he was, and how much of a potential pioneer that uh, that he was, or at least on his way to becoming. You know, and I know lately I've been doing a series of wrestling and comics. You know, and just and of course, but so and of course, for those that haven't seen it, it's on Victorious Ones. It's on the Victorious Ones podcast.wordpress.com. Make sure you check that out. Definitely enjoy it. You will not be disappointed whatsoever, and there's still more and more to come. But with that being said, if I were to compare, sorry for that, if I were to compare Bray to any comic book character, to me it would be the Scarecrow, just because um, Bray's greatest weapon has been fear. And Scarecrow has been known um, to use fear toxin, just for the sake of bringing out that fear in his opponents. So I would say that Bray's comic equivalent for me would for me would be Scarecrow. Um, so like I said, so um, overall, I mean, like I said, it's just what else needs to be said about Bray Wyatt that hasn't been said. And of course, another moment for me that's got to be at the top is when Bray, for me would be going into WrestleMania 30 during his feud with John Cena, and how Bray had everybody singing, how Bray had everybody, especially his kids, singing, he's got the whole world in his hands. So the fact that Bray was even able to get kids to sing, he's got the whole world in his hands. It was just a whole new level of like wrestling horror. It reminded you of a horror movie, and and just how how he was able to tap into those different elements, going into his first ever major feud with none other than the figurehead of WWE for at least like 10 to 15 years, and that would have been an even bigger, more nice for me would be a much bigger win in Bray's career if he were to beat Cena. And once he beat Cena, of course, I'm talking about at WrestleMania 30. But nonetheless, like I said, and of course, not only that, but also his last television appearance television appearance was on the episode of Raw. I want to say it was 30th anniversary Raw, where Undertaker whispers in his ear after giving LA Knight a chokeslam. You know, Taker walks over to Bray, whispers in his ear. I don't know what it was, but I could tell that was the official, as we all know, certified torch passing moment. Even though it didn't happen at WrestleMania, but the next best thing for me would have been on the 30th anniversary of Monday Night Raw. You know, and you know what I mean. So of course, as far as that, and not only that, but I also want to say that the Bray's. So I also believe that the Bray's last match was the Royal Rumble match with LA Knight. And last Friday, LA Knight snuck in a Bray Wyatt Bray Wyatt reference during his promo against The Miz, where LA Knight says, "Run," you know, and that whole night was just dedicated to Bray from top to bottom, from highlight packages to you know, the different stories from those in the locker room. You know, it just goes to show how remarkable this guy was, not only as a performer but also as a person. For that many people to consistently speak highly of you is a testament of your character, is a testament of your greatness. And Wyndham, you know, aka Bray, earned every ounce of respect and honor. You know? So you know, so it's just that you know, like I said, it's just you know, a very tragic situation all across the board. You know, it's just, I mean, I'm lost for words. You know, you want to talk about eater of worlds and how he had the world in the palm of his hand. I mean, seriously, you know, uh, this guy would have been revered for years and years and years to come. You know, he would have been to the next generation of wrestling fans with the Undertaker was for me as a kid. You know, he's going to mean that much to the next generation of fans. You know, it's like outside like this. You know, he's definitely that Undertaker representative for this generation of fans who did not get to see the Undertaker in person. You know, who did not get to witness the Undertaker's rise, and you know, and just what Undertaker meant. You know, for those that coming up, they have never seen the Undertaker, they would get a better understanding of that figure through Bray Wyatt. You know, you know, and just to see his metamorphosis all the way back from Husky Harris, you know, to the Bray Wyatt with the Hawaiian shirts and stuff like that. You know, to eventually a more polished performer to the point where he eventually transformed into the Fiend. You know, and thing is, earlier I was talking about how Terry Funk was known for reinventing himself, but also at the same time, Bray did his own way of reinventing as well. You know, and you know, what I mean, it's just like, I mean, there's so much on the table, so many different dream matches. You know what I mean? Can you imagine Bray Wyatt versus Cactus Jack? You know, I mean, that is a fantasy wrestling dream right there that we would never get to see unless you play WWE 2K23. You know what I mean? But I mean, you know, of course, let me see. But yeah, you know, but you know, of course, you know, like I said, you know, just I mean, overall, um, I mean, Bray was remarkable. He was absolutely incredible. Um, you know, like saying, and of course, you know, he's like I said, he's accomplished so much in so little time. Of course, he's a former WWE champion. He's a former tag team champion. He's also a former U.S. champion as well. You know, um, so I know for sure he's definitely going to be a. If we were doing ballots for the WWE Hall of Fame, there's no question at all that Bray Wyatt was first ballot and is a first ballot WWE Hall of Fame. You know, and you know, I mean, so it's just like you know, of course, you know, of course, another thing, you know, of course, I would want to bring up, um, you know, all I gotta say is this with this, you know, side note, you know, I definitely have to say this real quick. Pause, of course, but you know, but of course, like I said, when it comes to the latest mugshot of a former certain orange president named Don, you know, of course, you know, by the name of Donald Trump. That mugshot hit, and so when Griselda releases their latest album and they use that mugshot for the cover, don't say I didn't warn you. Don't be surprised if you know don't be surprised if that latest mugshot um, is going to be the latest Griselda cover because it deserves that. You know, if you are infamous, better believe that they will use you as a cover. They will put you on the cover, just like somebody that's been put on a T-shirt. They will put you on the cover. Let's see if I can share it. Thing about it is just like further down the rabbit hole that this, you know, I don't know how much further down the rabbit hole that this picture is uh, in my Twitter feed and things like that. But you know, but you know, but of course, I will say you know, let me see if I can share it. I'm not, you know, but yeah, like I said, so there it is, ladies and gentlemen. There you have it, the latest Griselda album cover. And the name of this episode might as well be called Westside Wyatt. And you know, so of course, yeah, you know, you know, I figured that you know that you know that even with you know even with such a somber mood, you know, you got at least inject a certain sense of humor, you know, and so of course that was my way of that was my way in a roundabout way to kind of light things up. But you know, but of course, you heard it here first on the Victorious Ones podcast. And of course, the name of this episode, I'm thinking about calling it the West Side Funk in honor of Terry Funk, or West Side Wyatt in honor of Bray Wyatt / West Side Gun. You know what I mean? So of course, and of course that was you know, like I said, that was a wrap up you know, of news and entertainment and wrestling. You know, so from this past weekend, and of course, one more thing before I go. I know I don't really cover them that much on the show, but congratulations to AEW for breaking the SummerSlam Wembley attendance record. Congratulations to them for making history. You know, there's no way of denying it. There's no way of escaping it. But congratulations to you for officially breaking SummerSlam attendance record. You know, the card in and of itself had its share of hits, as well as a few as well as misses here and there. But actually, you know what? As I think about it, as I think about it now that I am, pretty much, now that I am, so actually, of course, as I think about it, now that I am on this topic, I want to give a shout out to Keeks, the resident, the resident AEW #1 super fan, if you will. Let me see. As she has officially turned in her WWE card and is officially exclusively all in, all the way. Of course, when it comes to all things AEW, see, and so I know that. Let's see where the with going to find out with, like, I'm like, sorry about that. I'm not gonna hold this up, or create any type of dead space or anything like that. But I will have to say, I will have to say that that the thing is, I will have to say this. I definitely want to bring this up, just because this tweet is absolutely hilarious, because Keeks herself is absolutely hilarious. She's always on one, and like I said, she's someone who's very transparent, has no filter, and never ever holds her tongue. She never know that I know it's right here. I know it's right here. Actually, you know what? I know that. Actually, you know what? I know there's even a faster way to. I know there's even a much faster way to get to that. Um, oh, here it is. Um, as of August 27th, 2023. She says, LOL, I'm officially done with attending WWE events. Heart emoji. It's been real. I've been going since 1999, seeing wrestlers at the prime. I enjoyed the attitude, ruthless, PG, and Bloodline era. Been a great run. I'm grateful now. AEW, I'm ready for a good old time. So, of course, I discovered this tweet. And so, and the thing is, of course, I remember before she was saying that, that she was thinking about going to WrestleMania in Philly, just going to WrestleMania in Philly to troll the Eagles fans, because her and I are both Cowboys fans, for the record. So of course, first I remember, at least she was kind of just entertaining the idea of that. So anyway, long story short, I see this tweet, and I got to share this. Of course, after I see this tweet, I respond, and I'm like, what about WrestleMania? So she quotes. So of course she responds with a quote and says, "F Mania." I was like, wow, okay, so you have officially retired the retired the WWE jersey, once and for all, exclusively all in. So of course, my apologies for taking so long. I was trying to find it. Find on Twitter. I was like, you know what? Let me just go on IG, go on IG and find the tweet. But yeah, like I said, that was like I said, after this after this event, that was her official middle finger to WWE. I was like, okay, but then she also said that that the only time she would go back to watch to see anything with WWE is when Jericho goes to the Hall of Fame. But yeah, so of course this is this recent AEW this recent AEW pay-per-view in Wembley, like I said, has convinced a whole lot of people, more than ever, that WWE has very strong competition. And I never denied it, but but at the same time, this show has made it absolutely crystal clear. So congratulations to them for that. So of course, once again, rest in peace, Bray Wyatt. Like I said, of course, long live Fireflies. Long live the Buzzards. Wherever you want to call it. And of course, this has been another, like I say, another great episode of the Victorious Ones podcast. And of course, for those, I also have to plug this in. If you're on Facebook, look up the Victorious Ones podcast page, and the group. Like I say, of course, I'm thankful for the group's growth, and I'm hoping that you check that page out, and hope you check the page out and join, and let this, like I said, let this community, let this group, and this podcast continue to grow. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great night.